Cause Within You. It's based on a book by a guy named Matt Barnett. And in fact, I would really encourage you to get this book if you like to read books, and even if you don't, I think this is a great one. Matthew Barnett is the name of the author. The Cause Within You. Discovering the one great thing that you were created to do in this world. Doesn't that sound like a pretty cool title? And it's something that it's just really been stirring in me. I read this book about 2 months ago, and it really challenged me, and it convicted me in a lot of ways. And then I read it again here recently, and I'm going to read it a third time as we head into our small groups on Wednesday night. I want everyone who participates in a small group on Wednesday night to go ahead and get a copy of it. You can get it at Amazon, you can download it on your Kindle if you have that or whatever, but it's a great book. And we're going to look at it. Wednesday nights is really going to be more of an in-depth look at this, very practical application. I'm going to try to do the best I can on Sunday mornings to flesh out the idea of what this means, but then we'll go deeper on Wednesday night, so I hope you'll get an opportunity to join us for that on Wednesday night. And even if you can't make Wednesday night, it might be good to just have the book too, so you can read along this week as we go through it on Sunday mornings. The big question that haunts me oftentimes, and I don't know about you, you may kind of wrestle with this idea too, and that is, if there's those moments that come along, you stop and you go, what am I here for? What's my life all about, right? What's the purpose? I don't know if any of you ever kind of think that way or not. Way back when I first became a Christian, I remember this song came out by a guy named Stephen Curtis Chapman. I don't know if you guys ever listen to his music or not, but he's timeless. That guy's been doing music forever. And he did a song way back in the 90s, early 90s, called More to This Life. And the verse in the song said, there's got to be more to this life, more than just living and dying, more than just trying to make it through the day. And that's always stuck with me, because I've always felt like, there really needs to be more to this life. So many people I talk to, they're just kind of trudging through, they're just making it through. They're just getting up in the morning and they're going through the routine and they're kind of happy, but they're on this search and this quest for happiness and fulfillment in life, but they just can't ever seem to grasp it, and so they settle. They kind of just settle and go, well, I guess this is the best there is. What Matthew Barnett argues in this book, and what I absolutely agree with, is that we should never settle for that. That God has actually placed within each one of us a cause, a great purpose, something that only you can do. Something that if we tap into it, it'll actually change the way that we experience and live our lives. It will help us to grab a hold of all that we're actually looking for, because here's the deal, I think most people are just looking for, bottom line, happiness. We're just trying to find contentment, happiness, and a way of kind of having something to get up in the morning excited about, right? Like I said before, I don't know a single person who gets up in the morning and goes, you know what, if I could just not be happy today, that would really, really, really be cool. I don't know a single person who does that. Most everybody gets up in the morning and goes, boy, I can't wait to find out what this day holds for me. And I really hope that it holds something great for me. Well, that's the question we're going to be exploring. What does that look like? And how do we tap into that? And what Barnett argues in the book is this, that there is something that God has put within each one of us, that if we can discover it, if we can figure it out, it's going to change our lives. And ultimately, probably even more importantly, if we all do that, it'll change the world. Listen to this quote that comes from his book. When you were born, God instilled many things within you. One of them was a great cause that he wants you to embrace. In his unique grandeur, he created a universe in which the cumulative effect of all people faithfully pursuing the cause within them would result in a transformed world. Let me stop there for a second, because that's so important. The cumulative effect of all people faithfully pursuing the cause within them can transform the world. Anybody here have any interest at all in changing the world? Would that be something you'd be interested in? Okay. Yeah. Quentin, you want to change the world? Or not? You're all right? Okay. I just want to check, man, because you didn't raise your hand, and I just want to make sure you're okay with that. All right? I hope we all do. I hope that's something we're all really interested in doing. He says if we can all tap into this, we can transform the world. Now, what does that look like? A transformed world is one in which everyone's needs would be met and every servant's heart would be filled with the joy of blessing others. Unfortunately, listen, we live in a traumatized world, in part because so many people fail to identify and pursue the cause that he has given them. Even though it would provide the happiness and fulfillment they have been seeking, they have failed to build their lives around that cause. See, there's too many people who just, for whatever reason, they just like, I don't know, there's really nothing there. But what we're arguing here is, yeah, there is. And over the next 6 weeks, we're going to try to figure out, how do you tap into that? How do you figure out what that cause is, and then how do we give ourselves over to it? Today's just going to be an introduction. All I want to do today is convince you that there's a cause within you. I want you to leave today going, man, I can't wait to find out what my cause is. Because that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, I know there's something. I know there's some more. I'm gonna latch onto it. I'm gonna figure it out. Now here's the thing I want you to understand. And if you miss everything else in the next 6 weeks, don't miss this right here, right now. If you're about ready to check out, or you're gonna text or color something, right now, don't miss this one, okay? The cause within you will never, ever be about you. The cause within you will always, always, always be about somebody else. It'll always be about giving. It'll never be about getting. This is the upside down, transformational kind of backwards kingdom of God thing that we go back to from the last series. Jesus is always telling us, you want happiness, you want fulfillment, you want contentment, give. Our world, our culture teaches us, you want happiness, you want contentment, you want fulfillment, what? Take. Get more money, get a bigger house, get a boat, get a nice car, get a cuter girlfriend. Whatever it takes, you've got to get stuff because that's what's going to make you happy. And so we have to fight against that. We have to fight against that kind of conditioning that we have. And in order for us to really latch onto the cause, we've got to remember it's always going to be about somebody else. If you have your Bible, Exodus chapter 3. Exodus chapter 3. We've been spending a lot of time in the New Testament these last few weeks. Today we're going to go to the Old Testament. And we're going to look at a dude in the Old Testament that you guys know well. His name is Moses. Moses. Exodus chapter 3, starting in verse 1. Now Moses was taking care of the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, Midian's priest. So let's stop there for a second. Moses is out in the field watching sheep. What do we know about Moses? What was Moses supposed to be doing? He was a prince, wasn't he? Moses was a Hebrew, born into the Hebrew people. And remember, the Pharaoh was trying to kill all the Hebrew boys, and the mama put him in a thing and sent him down a river, right, to save him. And he was taken in by the Pharaoh, and he was raised as an Egyptian. He was raised as an aristocratic Egyptian. He was like the prince of Egypt, right? And that's what he should have been doing. But see, there was something inside Moses that he understood and he realized, and that was he had a people, and there was a people that he loved and cared about. But he couldn't do anything about that because everyone thought he was an Egyptian. And one day, he saw a Hebrew being beaten by an Egyptian. You remember this story? And what did he do? He killed the dude, okay? He killed the Egyptian. And then, if you look at the Bible's so great, you should read your Bible. When you look at it, it says that Moses looked to his right and looked to his left, and then he buried the dude in the sand. Okay? This is what he did. I'm not lying to you. Read it in the Bible. He kills the guy, and then he looks around to see if anyone's watching, and buries him in the sand. Okay? So, that's... no matter what culture you're in or what period of time you're living in, that's not good. Okay? Right. So he does that, and then he has to flee. So now he's out in the wilderness taking care of sheep. And every day he wakes up, and every day he goes about his business of taking care of sheep. God has something for Moses that he's missed because he's out there kind of just going through the motions, living his life. He led his flock out to the edge of the desert, and he came to God's mountain called Horeb. Verse 2, the Lord's messenger appeared to him in a flame of fire in the middle of a bush. Now, I'm certain that Moses has seen all of the really cheesy, bad horror movies that I have, right? And you don't, there's the house and it's creepy, you don't go in the house, or just don't go in. But here's a bush that's on fire, and it's not, it's weird, it's just there, it's not being burned up, okay? And Moses, instead of going, let's see. The Lord's messenger appeared to him in a flame of fire in the middle of the bush. Moses saw that the bush was in flames, but it didn't burn up. Then Moses said to himself, come on, sheepy sheep, let's go this other way. Let's get away from this strange bush that's on fire that won't disappear because that's strange and creepy. Let's go this way, come on. No, he doesn't say that. He says, let me check out this amazing sight. Now, I don't know if that's what he sounded like. Again, I just need you to understand, when I read the Bible, I have to give voices because it helps me. Let me check out this amazing sight and find out why the bush isn't burning out. Okay? It's a strange thing. The bush is burning. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to it. When the Lord saw that he was coming to look, God called to him out of the bush. Now, all of a sudden, the flaming bush is talking. Moses. And I don't know what your God sounds like, but that's in my head. Okay, that's the Old Testament God. It's different from the New Testament God. If we ever get to that, it sounds different. Moses said, I'm out of here, but I am here. I'm here. This is strange, this is weird, but I'm here. And the Lord said, I'm not going to do the voice anymore. Don't come any closer. Take off your sandals because you are standing on holy ground. And he continued, I am the God of your father, Abraham's God, Isaac's God, and Jacob's God. Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. And then the Lord said, I've clearly seen my people oppressed in Egypt. I've heard their cry of injustice because of their slave masters. I know about their pain. I've come down to rescue them from the Egyptians in order to take them out of that land and bring them to a good and broad land. A land that's full of milk and honey, a place where the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, the Alabamites all live. Make sure you're paying attention. Now the Israelites' cries of injustice have reached me. I've seen just how much the Egyptians have oppressed them. Let me stop there. Moses is cowering, afraid of the burning bush that's talking to him. But he hears what God is saying. God says, Moses, the people that you have great concern for, the people who you love, those Hebrews, I love them. I've heard their cries for justice. I've seen the injustice that's going on. I'm going to do something about it. And I'm sure Moses was like, yes, I am so glad. God, I have been waiting so long for you to do something about this. Because it's been in my heart, God. I have been waiting. And then, I can't do anything because I'm over here, there. If I go back, I could get arrested. But you, God, you are going to do something. I am so excited to hear that you're going to do something. Verse 10. So, get going. I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. To which Moses went, what? No. I'm so sorry, God. No. Not me. Right? God is unveiling for Moses in this moment his great cause. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking because I was thinking the same thing. You're thinking, Sean, it's Moses. Moses is like a big-time Bible character. Moses is a hero. Moses is one of God's favorite. Moses is so popular that in 1998, DreamWorks decided to make a movie about his life, a full animated feature called The Prince of Egypt, featuring the vocal talents of some Hollywood celebrities like Val Kilmer and Sandra Bullock and Michelle Pfeiffer. And it was so popular, and Moses was so popular that this was the first animated feature, not Disney, that grossed over $100 million at the box office. In fact, it doubled that. It grossed like $218 million at the box office. And it was so popular that there were 2 awards given to it at the 71st Academy Awards ceremony. It was held in Los Angeles and hosted by Whoopi Goldberg for the 3rd time. And the song, There Could Be Miracles If You Believe. Remember that? That one not only got nominated, but that actually won the best award for like the original song. And then not only that, but Mariah Carey and the late Whitney Houston, God rest her soul, came out and sang that song. And it was like the highlight of the entire event, Sean. That's Moses. He is so popular, and I can't compete. That is what you were thinking, right? Because I do. I look and I go, it's Moses. It's a huge Bible character. When I was a kid, we idolized those characters. It's a Bible character. It's not talking to me. But he is. See, the thing you need to realize is every time you read a story about a character in the Bible, it's a picture of you and me. It's not just a guy in history in that time. It's a picture of you and me. It's a picture of every child of God. It's God's call to each one of us. And just to remind you, because you think, oh, Moses, he was so amazing. Moses killed a man and buried him in the sand. Have you killed anybody and buried them in the sand recently? Listen, you cannot compare. You cannot go, well, Moses is so... No. This is God's story for you and me. I have a purpose for you. I have a call and a plan for you. Now, watch what Moses does, because he's just like you and me. Moses goes out and he gets his t-shirt and he joins up in the Department of Lame Excuses. 4 times. He begins by saying... First of all, let me jump back to this. This is so important. I don't want to miss this verse. I don't want you to miss this verse because this is so important. God's cause for you. We can jump to the New Testament here for just a second. God's cause is for you and for me. And this is a great verse. You want to write this one down. Ephesians 2:10. It says this, we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so that we can do what? Good things that He has planned for us long ago. It's not just Moses. It's not just Peter. It's not just Esther. It's not just David. It's all of us. We are God's masterpiece. Some translations say workmanship. God's great design. God's great creation, you and me. And we were designed for good works, a cause that He put into us before we were ever created. Remember, the Bible teaches that God knew us before He formed us. That He knew us before He formed us in our mother's womb, and He had a plan for us. Remember what He told Jeremiah. We're going to come back to this later on in this series, in Jeremiah 29:11. He says, I know the plans I have for you. I know the purpose I have for you. I know the cause I have for you. Every one of us has a great cause, and it's to do good things that He's planned for us long ago. All right. Now we enter into the Department of Lame Excuses. This is where Moses picks up his excuses. Number 1, in verse 11 of chapter 3, he says, who am I? Who am I? I'm nobody, God. I'm nobody. Maybe this is you. God's stirring you. God's got something that's coming up in you. You're kind of feeling a draw to something, but you're like, who am I? I'm just nobody. And God responds in verse 12 to Moses by saying, yeah, you're right. Honestly, just by yourself, you are nobody. But with me, you can do anything. God says, I am with you, Moses. There's no excuse for that. I am with you. And when you begin to discover your cause, what you're going to realize is that God is with you, no matter what. If you understand and you know it's your cause, God is with you, and He will be with you. And you will be successful in fulfilling whatever it is that God's called you to do, because God will not let you down. It's going to be scary. You're going to want to make excuses. You're going to want to bow out. You're going to want to go, I can't do this. Step outside my comfort zone. That's weird. But God will be with you. Then He goes, well, they're going to ask me who sent me, and I don't know what to tell them. I don't know who you are. I don't know what to say. You know, the whining begins. Verse 13, he starts whining. I don't know who you are. And God says, you tell him, I am that I am. You know what this says to me? It says to me that God is very interested in making sure that we understand that whoever we're sent to, whatever our cause is, that we can tell our story. Because we know who God is to us. You don't have to be theologically gifted. You don't have to know the Bible backwards and forwards. You don't have to, do strange voices. You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is be able to tell your story. Who is God to me? Well, God is fill in the blank. We're going to be able to tell them who He is. It doesn't matter if you know all the ins and outs of who God is. What you do know is who God is to you. That's the way you do it. Tell them I am sent you. Take time to explain who God is to you. Then he goes, well, what if they don't believe me? They're not going to believe me. And God goes, prove it. Prove it to them. Yeah, they probably won't believe you, but you prove it. And then He starts doing these mistakes. He says, take the stick in your hand, throw it on the ground. What happens? It turns to a snake. Now, that's never happened for me before. I wish it would, because I throw stuff on there and it breaks. It's just weird. It doesn't happen like that. But here's the way God does miracles in our life today, I think. He causes us to step into people's lives and do things that they are not expecting. See, Matthew Barnett in the book calls miracle space that place between what you can do and what you can't do. It's miracle space. There's a place where you get to a point where you just, I can't do anymore. And God goes, I can do a whole lot. So let's kind of step into miracle space. Let me give you some examples. Last Sunday after church, we went back to the Connection. We made a bunch of ham sandwiches and some beans. Took some water and some rolls, and we went out. And we went to people in our community that we knew were hungry and didn't have food, and they needed this food. And we gave them food, and we watched their expressions on their face, and we heard the things they said. And one stands out to me. We knocked on the door. We opened the door, and it was a man and his wife. And we stood there, and we said, "We have some food for you. Would you like food?" And the man said, "My wife was just saying that this was the first Easter that she never had because she didn't have ham. And she really wanted to have ham." And we said, "Well, here's a ham sandwich." See, that's a simple thing, but that's a miracle for people. That's something where people go, "Well, I don't get this. Why are you doing this?" Another miracle that happened this week. One of our church people, very involved in what we're doing, discovered that a neighbor who had just had a baby didn't have a stroller. And she said, "Well, what can we do about getting a stroller?" And we got a stroller. That very day, we found a stroller. Another person that belongs to our church said, "Well, here's a stroller." And she took the stroller to this family. And with tears in their eyes, they said, "Why are you doing this?" "Because God loves you, because we want to help you, because we noticed that you didn't have a stroller." And they said I love this. They said, "Does this kind of stuff happen all the time?" And she said, "Yeah, you bet it does. You bet it does." It's a miracle. That's miracle space. That's stepping in and saying, "You know what? They might not believe our words, but they'll believe our actions. They'll believe it when we step up and actually start showing love." Then he says, "Well, but I can't." And he says, "I can't speak, right? Suddenly he got like a case of the stutters. I don't know if Moses stuttered before this or not, but suddenly he does. I can't speak, right? I just can't do it." You fill in the blank. I can't what? This becomes our biggest excuse. Well, I just can't. Somebody once told me, it was probably like some mean coach or something, said, "I can't means I won't." I can't is not an excuse. It just means I won't. It means I refuse to do it. See, I can't is not, and God says, yes, you can. You can do it because I have put a cause within you. I have given you the ability to do this, and you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You can do this. No more excuses. And then finally Moses goes, "Would you please just send someone else? Please." And God gets mad. It's the first time in the text where it says God got angry. I don't know about you, but I don't want to get in God. And here's what God does. This is pretty amazing. He doesn't say, "Okay, Moses, out of here. Get out of here." He goes, "You have trouble speaking? I'm going to send Aaron. And Aaron will do the talking for you, okay? That's my last offer to you, Moses." Now, Moses has a moment there, doesn't he? He can either go, "Oh, Aaron would be really good to do the whole thing. Just let him do it. I'm just going to step back. God, I'm going to go back to my sheep over here. You let Aaron do the whole thing." Or he can go, "Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. You want me to do this. Aaron can do the talking." Fortunately, Moses chooses the latter. See, God's going to bring some people alongside of you. He's going to bring some people in there to help you to do the things that you can't do. He's going to surround you with the right people, but you've got to step up and say, "Yes, I will do what it is, God, that you need me to do." If you don't, and this is the part that always scares me. If we don't, if Moses had said, "Super, let Aaron go do the whole thing," God would have removed the clause from it. Jesus tells this parable in Luke chapter 15, or Matthew chapter 25. It's called the parable of the talents. Remember this? He gives the guys a talent, and the one guy doesn't use it, and he takes it from him. That's the thing I don't want to have happen. I don't want to miss out on my cause because I have all the excuses in the world not to do it, and then God takes it and gives it to somebody else. He's going to give us every opportunity in the world to step up. You will know if God is nudging. You will know. God probably won't appear in a bush and talk to you, but you will know. This is something that I should be acting on. And chances are, if you feel like you want to resist it, chances are if you feel like you want to make excuses why you shouldn't be doing it, that's probably your cause starting to creep up within you. But don't let God take it away from you. The last thing I want to say is this.